Today's class, again, is going to be called The Bible and the Bewitching of the Beast. The Bewitching of the Beast. Today's date, February 22nd, 2020. And this is the Lions Roar conference call on the Shabbat. We're going to go ahead and get into the class. We just said our morning prayers to the Most High, facing Jerusalem. And lots been going on. I hope y'all been paying attention to the news, current events. What I've noticed, I don't know if you've seen it, but there's a fleeing of Amalekites, Jewish people. They're fleeing to Jerusalem from America who have pedophilia cases pending against them. The Most High said that place will be a wicked place in Jerusalem. It's going to be just like Babylon. It's just as bad as Babylon. The people there they're devils. So I mean, we have to understand the times we're living in. We're getting worse and worse. Colossians 3:17. Good. And it reads, "And whatsoever ye do in word or deed, do all by Shem HaMashiach Yahushai, giving thanks to the Most High Yahweh by Shem HaMashiach Yahushai." All praises to Him. And, why was this Bible created? This Bible was created in the beginning for mankind. I'm going to say mankind. Okay. It was created for mankind. But the mankind, there is an upper echelon of the mankind that the Most High was dealing with. But let's read Genesis 1:1. Genesis 1:1. Yeah, a lot of people want to fight you and argue with you about religion and that it's not true, but they don't have anything in their books that says this. Genesis 1:1. In the beginning, the Most High created the heaven and the earth. What other book has that? Islam, do they have it? Guess what? They're piggybacking off the Bible. Everybody out there who claims that the Bible is not real, where can they find how the beginning was created? There's nothing else out there. This is, in the beginning, God created the heaven. The Most High created the heaven and the earth. And the earth was without form and void, and darkness was upon the face of the deep. And the Spirit of the Most High moved upon the face of the waters. All right? The waters is this earth. It was covered with waters. And the Most High said, "Let there be light," and there was light. The Most High created all things. Let's go to verse 24. And the Most High said, "Let the earth bring forth the living creature after his kind, cattle and creeping things, and beasts of the earth after his kind." So I said mankind. Just like creeping things after their kind. And it was so. And the Most High made the beasts of the earth after his kind, and cattle after their kind, and everything that creepeth upon the earth after his kind. And the Most High saw that it was good. And the Most High said, "Let us make man in our image, after our likeness." Who's the R? Who's us? It's the Most High and the powers above the heavens. Okay, these are the angels. These are the Most High. This is Yahushai. Okay, we were made after his image. The way that we look like the Most High, the image, and our likeness. And let them have dominion, let them have dominion over the fish of the sea, and over the fowl of the air, and over the cattle, and over all the earth, and over every creeping thing that creepeth upon the earth. The Most High created man in his own image. In the image of the Most High created he him, created he them. All right, so the Most High created them. Where was the Most High standing when he did this? Let's go to 1 Kings. Go to 1 Kings chapter 19. Actually, let's go to 1 Kings chapter 22. Where was he standing? 1 Kings chapter 22, verse 19. This is where the Most High was. 1 Kings 22, verse 19. And he said, Hear thou therefore the word of the Most High. I saw the Most High sitting on his throne, and all the host of heaven standing by him, on his right hand and on his left. So when he says, Let us make man, who was with the Most High? It says, he saw the host of heaven, all the host of heaven standing by him. That's the us. And the Most High said, Who shall persuade Ahab that he may go up and fall at Ramoth Gilead? And one said on this matter, and another said on that matter. They were sitting here having counsel. And there came a forth a spirit and stood before the Most High and said, I will persuade him. All right, so these are the host of heaven. These are the hosts of heaven. This is the us that Genesis chapter 1 is speaking of. This is the us. Let's go to Hebrews, the book of Hebrews, chapter 8. Hebrews 8 and 1. Hebrews chapter 8, verse 1. Now of the things which we have spoken, this is the sum. We have such an high priest who is set on the right hand of the throne of the majesty in the heavens, a minister of the sanctuary and of the true tabernacle which the Most High pitched, and not man. So this is not a man. He said a man didn't create the Most High. The Most High created us in his image. For every high priest is ordained to offer gifts and sacrifice, wherefore it is necessity that this man have somewhat also to offer. Well, who is this man though? This one that we look like. We look like this man. All right? But he came down and created us with the power of his Father. Let's go to one more verse. Let's go to Acts chapter 7. So the Bible was created to show us that there was a higher being that created us. All kinds on the earth. Mankind, animal kind. The earth was created by him. Let's go to Acts chapter 7. And let's go to verse 56. Let's start at 55. Acts 7 and 55. But he, being full of the Holy Spirit, this is Stephen, looked up steadfastly into heaven and saw the glory of the Most High, and Yahushua standing on the right hand of the Most High. So who was standing in the host of heaven next to the Most High? It was Yahushua. He was standing up and said, Behold, I see the heavens open and the Son of Man standing on the right hand of the Most High. So we just read in Genesis chapter 1, it says, Let us make man in our image. Now you know who the us is after reading 1 Kings chapter 22, Hebrews chapter 8 and 1, and Acts chapter 7. It's simple. That's who made us. Anyone want to fight with you about the Bible, you bring out those verses to prove who the host of heaven was, who the us, let us go down and make man. Now you know who that is. Yahushua, who was standing next to the Most High. Just like that spirit stood before the Most High and said, I will go down and persuade Rahab. That was Yahushua did the same thing. I will go down and create man in our image. That was Yahushua did that. So now you have understanding of how the world was created, how the earth was created, who was hovering over the waters. It should be a no-brainer now. Now we have to understand who was the Bible established for. We just read how creation was established, but who was the Bible established for? All right, let's go to Proverbs chapter 16, because the Most High said he created mankind. If he created mankind, that's everybody, right? That's everybody. But who is the Bible established for? Proverbs chapter 16 and 4. Proverbs 16 and 4 reads, the Most High hath made all things for himself. We just read that in the book of Genesis. He made everything, but he made it all for himself. Yea, even the wicked for the day of evil. So now he's telling you that he also made evil mankind. He made evil mankind for the day of what? Evil. So we got wicked people on the earth. Right? Why did he do that? People ask. Why would he make everybody and then make somebody that's evil? Well, the Most High set that up for a reason. Let's go to Isaiah 43. That's what people can't understand. He gives you the whole breakdown in Romans chapter 9. He's the potter that made the vessel. If you can't understand it, you can't understand it. But the Most High created all things for himself. Now we're going to read who the Bible is established for. Isaiah chapter 43, verse 7. Isaiah 43 and 7. It reads, even everyone that is called by my name, for I have created him for my glory. I have formed him. Yea, I have made him. So he now is telling you that out of all mankind, there's one man, there's some men of mankind that he made that has his name. Some has the name of Satan. Some has he blessed and put by his side, and some has he cast away. That the Most High has created all mankind, but different types of men. Let's go to Deuteronomy chapter 32. Deuteronomy 32. People can't understand that. They fathom them. They say, well, he created all men for him. Everybody can worship God. Yeah, everybody's supposed to worship the Most High. Everybody. But he created some men for evil. And some has he blessed. Deuteronomy chapter 32, verse 8. Look at this. This is what he did with mankind. Deuteronomy 32, verse 8. When the Most High divided to the nations their inheritance, he gave everybody a certain inheritance, a type of quality, things that they're good at. Okay? So he gave everybody an inheritance. When the Most High divided to the nations their inheritance, when he separated the sons of Adam, all the men that was created from came out of Adam. He set the bounds of the people according to the number of the children of Israel. So who is this that has his name? Israel. The children of Israel has his name. Who is this Bible established for? Israel. No one else. Look at verse 9. For the Most High's portion is his people. The Most High has a portion out of all those people. He gave one of his portions. Like, you got to think about Elijah. Elijah had portions, and he gave two portions to who? Elisha. Did Elijah give any portions to anybody else? No, only to Elisha, the prophet. The Most High has given Israel a portion of his spirit. Does that make sense? He's given Israel a portion of his spirit, like Elijah the prophet gave Elisha two portions of his spirit. There's more spirit that the Most High has, but he gave us a portion of his spirit. Jacob is the lot of his inheritance. That's our inheritance. So all nations have an inheritance. They have something, but the Most High gave us a piece of him. No other nation has a piece of him but us. Does that make sense? We are the only people on this planet who has a portion of the Most High. Let's go to Deuteronomy chapter 4. Because once he established us, then he had to bless us. And how did he bless us? We're going to read it. Deuteronomy chapter 4. Let's read verse 1. Deuteronomy 4, verse 1. Now therefore hearken, O Israel, unto the statutes and unto the judgments which I teach you, for to do them, that ye may live and go in and possess the land, which the Most High thy power of your fathers giveth you. So out of the Most High's portions, This was part of his portion that he gave us. This was the portion that the other nations did not get, that we just read in Deuteronomy 32 and 9. This is the portion. Ye shall not add unto the word which I command you, neither shall you diminish out from it, that ye may keep the commandments of the Most High your power, which I command you. So out of all those portions that the people got, they got no portion of the Most High. That's why they worship everything, wood and stone. We, on the behalf of the Most High, got his portion of his spirit, which is his laws, his statutes, and commandments for us to be pure, to be amongst him and be beside him. Let's go to verse 6. It reads, keep therefore and do them, for this is your wisdom and your understanding in the sight of the nations. We just read in Deuteronomy 32 and 8 that he separated all the nations, all the sons of Adam, but he kept the portion for the children of Israel. So he's telling us right here that the portion that we get is going to be our wisdom in the sight of all these nations. They're going to want what we have. They're going to want our inheritance. They're going to want to get it and keep it. It's precious. It says, which shall hear all these statutes and say, surely this great nation is a wise and understanding people. See that? Wise and understanding people. We're going to read down to verse 9. For what nation is there so great who hath the Most High so near unto them? See, some that he kept near. We are kept near to the Most High. That's in the book of the Apocrypha. That's in the book of Ecclesiasticus. I forget the chapter, but it's in the Apocrypha in the Ecclesiasticus. If somebody could find that and present that, it'd be great, because I can't remember exactly right now where it is. Some has he blessed and some has he put beside themselves. All right, let's bring that out too. So we all understand what the Most High was saying. I'm gonna look real quick too. Oh, here it is. I got it. I got it right here. Let's finish off verse 8 and we'll go to it. It says, and what nation is there so great that have statutes and judgments so righteous as all this law which I set before you this day? Only take heed to thyself. Look, okay, we're going to come back to verse 9. Go to Sirach, in the Apocrypha. It's called the book of Ecclesiasticus, chapter 33. And it's going to be verse 10. And this goes right into the breakdown that we were going over with mankind and how he separated them and chose Israel and set Israel next to him with his portion. All right. And so it reads, Sirach 33 and 10, and all men are from the ground, and Adam was created of earth. See, we all came out of Adam. In much knowledge, the Most High hath divided them. He divided all these people by certain knowledges. That's why Japanese got a certain knowledge, Chinese got a certain knowledge, so-called white man got a certain knowledge, the Indians got a certain knowledge, but we have the knowledge of the Most High. Understand? The Most High says to all the nations, all the world, he says the wisdom of this world is foolishness because they don't have the Most High's portion. That's where you get wisdom. That's where you get wisdom. It says, in much knowledge the Most High have divided them and made their ways diverse. Some of them hath he blessed and exalted, and some of them hath he sanctified and set near himself. That's the children of Israel. But some of them hath he cursed and brought low and turned out of their places. All right, so the Most High is telling us how he created the nations. And then he goes into the potter's hand, how he created certain things of a vessel. And the vessels that he chose was better. The ones that he loved, he put by himself. The same thing. It's the breakdown. Ecclesiasticus chapter 1, verse 1. Ecclesiasticus chapter 1, verse 1 in the Apocrypha. It reads, all wisdom cometh from the Most High and is with him forever. All wisdom comes from the Most High. Everything you think of comes from the Most High. Cure for cancer, cure for all diseases comes from the Most High. The other nations don't believe in the Most High, but they get their wisdom from the Most High, whether they know it or not. It's coming from the Most High. They're dumbfounded by the things that the Most High do and how He utilizes the children of Israel to come up with new things on the earth every day. Whatever we put our hands to, we make it better. We make it look weird. People can't understand how we do it. Sports world, science world, anything we touch, we change the dynamics of it. That's the Most High's portion. Whatever we touch is going to thrive because if we keep His laws, statutes, and commandments, wisdom will thrive with us. All right, let's go back to Deuteronomy chapter 4, verse 9. It says, only take heed to thyself and keep thy soul diligently, lest thou forget the things which thine eyes have seen, and lest they depart from thy heart all the days of thy life, but teach them thy sons and thy sons' sons. The biggest thing here about this verse 9, is us not hearkening to what we heard. Us not hearkening to what we heard allows us to forget all the examples that the Most High has shown us. That's why when we read Romans 15 and 4, it says, what does it say? Can't quote it right now. Let's get it. Romans 15 and 4. Romans 15 and 4. For whatsoever things were written aforetime were written for our learning. Everything that is written in this book was written for our learning, that we through patience and comfort of the scriptures might have hope. That's why he says in Hosea 4:6, my people are lost for lack of knowledge. The lack of knowledge is the wisdom of the Most High. Forgetting all the examples that were in the Bible before we came on this earth. We forget and we purposely don't want to read to remember. But this is the wisdom in the sight of the nations. He tells us that. This book is over. How long we been on this earth? Let's see. It took 7 days to do this earth, so that was 7,000 years. And then, well, we're 6,000 more after. We're in the 13,000th year, going into the 14,000th year, which is another year of peace. 1,000 years of peace. That's coming up. That's why we're at the end. So we have to remember what's going on in this earth by reading the scriptures. So we got to understand this book was written for us. The main thing is he expounded on Moses to urge him to remember by making him accountable. He made Moses accountable for us to show us what the scripture says. He was held accountable. Now imagine being held accountable by the Most High to tell the people about the law, statutes, and commandments. He was held accountable. He had heavy pressure on him, man. He didn't need a wife that was just going to be nagging all the time. He needed a wife that was going to be by his side and push him through. You don't really hear too much about his wife Zipporah. She was supporting him, that's why. Now, if she was a nuisance, she'd be all in the scriptures. Zipporah was supporting Moses from day one, even when he almost got killed by the Most High by not circumcising his son. She helped save his life. The angel was ready to take him out. So she was there. See, women always say, well, where's our part in the scriptures? Y'all all in the scriptures. She supported Moses all the way through. Now, you notice when it gets to Miriam, the only time Miriam ever has a real part in the scriptures, other than putting Moses in the as a baby in the manger and pushing him down the river down to Egypt, other than that, the only other time you really hear about Miriam is when she's complaining. She caused strife within the camp of Israel because she was complaining. She let her emotions get to her. And the Most High striked her down with leprosy. See? She was out of order. But all the women who are in order, you won't hear too much about them. Remember the book of Judith? Judith was unseen. Nobody saw Judith until her husband died and she had to come out. She was in order. She did things that she was supposed to do. So there was no need to talk about her. She was in order. All right? And they tried to take that book out of the Bible, along with the book of Maccabees. Let's go to 2nd Ezra chapter 14. 2nd Ezra chapter 14, verse 1. And it came to pass, upon the third day, I sat under an oak, and behold, there came a voice out of the bush over against me, and said, Esdras, Esdras. And I said, Here I am, my power. And I stood up upon my feet. Then said he unto me in the bush, I did manifestly reveal myself unto Moses. He said, I showed myself to Moses in the old days, and I talked with him when my people served in Egypt. And I sent him and led my people out of Egypt and brought him up to the mount of Sinai, where I held him by me a long season. All right, so he's given him the what? The history of his people. Saying, I spoke with one of your leaders, one of the publishers. He says, and told him many wondrous things, and showed him the secrets of the times and the end, and commanded him, saying, These words shalt thou declare, and these shalt thou hide. So Moses was held at a high standard to declare the Most High's words to the children of Israel. High standard. What did Moses hear when he was declared these words? Let me show you. People say, well, he wrote the whole Torah. He wrote the Torah. Yeah, but what did he say in the Torah? Do you know? Do you know what Moses wrote about in the Torah? Go to Genesis 49, verse 1. Genesis 49 and 1 reads, And Jacob called unto his sons and said, Gather yourselves together, that I may tell you that which shall befall you in the last days. See that? Gather yourselves together, and hear ye sons of Jacob, and hearken unto Israel your father. So who is this Bible for again? It's for the children of Israel. He's saying, remember Deuteronomy 4. This is your wisdom in the sight of the nations. Moses had to go back and show them that this is why we got the law, statutes, commandments. It was pushed through our generations through word of mouth prior to it being written. That's what Egyptologists always try to argue with us about. Oh, we had the first written language. You know, the Most High's written language always been here. But you guys may have put it first on paper. But we already had a language. We already had written language. We already had it. We kept it amongst ourselves. We didn't share it with the other nations like the Egyptians did. The Egyptians pushed their language on people. They pushed their literature on people. We didn't have to do that. We kept it within our family. That's the difference. We wasn't pompous like that. You know, Nimrod was a very prideful man. He pushed all he knew on everybody. The Israelites kept this stuff to themselves. It was our wisdom. Let's go to 28, verse 28. All these are the 12 tribes of Israel. So now Jacob is telling the sons, you guys are going to be called the 12 tribes of Israel. Because at first, if you notice in 1 and 2, he says his sons. But then when you get to verse 28, he says, all these are the 12 tribes of Israel. And this is it, that their father spoke unto them and blessed them, every one according to his blessing. He blessed them. Now, who is the orator in this? It's Moses. Moses, the Most High told you in 2nd Ezra chapter 14 that he showed them the beginning of times and the end of times, and to what? Have some for the people and to hide the rest for the people. Some of the things were hidden for the people. They weren't supposed to get it until the latter times. Remember what he told Daniel? Shut up the book, for this will be for the end times. Go stand in your lot, Daniel. So this is what Moses did. He saw prophecy. And he received that amongst the multitude of the 12 tribes. And he established it amongst them. Let's go to Psalms chapter 80 or Psalm 68. So this Bible was written for the children of Israel. You already knew where the topic was going. But the people who are listening who never heard this, now they know. Psalm 68, verse 11. It has to be, you think about it, okay? Just think about this. Say you're a do-it-yourself contractor, a do-it-yourself, you're fixing something around the house. There's going to come a moment or a certain time where you're not going to be able to figure something out and you're going to need help. You're going to have to either call a real plumber or a real contractor, right, to fix what you got. Your intelligence can only go so far. Well, that's what the Most High did with the people. He put the children of Israel as those professional plumbers, professional contractors. When people run into problems, when kings of the other nations run into problems of governing their people, they would come to the children of Israel to get that understanding of what they do next or what to do next. How can the Most High bestow his wisdom on them to understand what's going on? That's where it came. Just like Abraham in the book of Josephus met with the Egyptians and they spoke on arithmetic, they spoke on astronomy, and Abraham excelled at all of it and taught them something. Okay? This is why the children of Israel were established. This is why the Bible is established for the children of Israel, to teach the nations. Now the nations hate us. They don't have understanding of us. They don't know why we're here. That's why they're trying to do away with us. They're trying to kill us off because they don't know why we're here. We were here, we were set up to teach them. Now they're trying to move us out of the way. Get it? All right. So let's go back. Um, Psalm 68 in verse 11. And it reads, "The Most High gave the word. Great was the company of those that published it." So who gave the word? The Most High is the author. Who published it? Moses, Ezekiel, Ezra, all these prophets that you see, they published it. Whatever the Most High told them, they put it out there. They published it. You have a publisher and you have an author. You have an executive publisher. There's many publishers, but the Most High is the author. He wrote it with the finger of his hand in the book of Exodus, chapter 31, it says. Now it's being published. Let's go to 2nd Ezra, chapter 14. 2nd Ezra 14 and verse 45. 2nd Ezra 14 and 45. "And it came to pass when the 40 days were fulfilled." It came to pass when the 40 days were fulfilled that the highest spoke, saying, "The first that thou hast written, publish openly, that the worthy and unworthy may read it." See that? "But keep the 70 last, that thou mayest deliver them only to such as be wise among the people." Now y'all see, when I tell y'all, stick with the 66 books plus 14. Now y'all see why I say that? Because it ain't for everybody to go into all the other books. A lot of brothers and sisters don't have the wisdom to operate in the other books that are out there, like the Sefer and so forth. That's why the scriptures is led that way. That's why he said, publish some and publish some to those with wisdom. Everybody don't have wisdom. You could break down something in the book of the Sefer and somebody would be more lost than what they were before. It ain't for everybody, man. It ain't for everybody. Some people don't have the wisdom of the Most High at all. They don't even know the laws. They just want to get the deep stuff, and they can't even process the deep stuff because they got to start from scratch. Do Isaiah 28:9 all day. Here a little and there a little until they grow up and able to eat meat. It ain't a lot of. That's why it shouldn't be taught on the internet. Because anybody could get it, and then you see all the confusion going on in the internet because brothers can't process right. This is our wisdom. Nobody else's. That's why Christ said, don't cast your pearls to swine. Some of our own people are swine. Can't just give it to anybody. Even during the time of King James, the first, he had problems. You know, he was feeling pressure from the Puritans and the Calvinists, demanding church reform all the time. It was in the 1600s, before the Bible was published. He was having those problems. They was calling for a complete restructuring of the church. That was what they was doing. Why? Because of all the inquisitions that was taking place. They were killing our people, and they were killing Christians at the same time. They were killing Israelites and Christians and Mohammedans. They had all kinds of inquisitions. They were saying blasphemer. They were just, nothing was clear. There was no clear cut understanding of the scriptures. That's why King James put it together, and they translated to an easier version of English. And it was prophetic. It was prophetic. They were pressing on all kinds of issues to have access to the Bible. You know, but it was basically for themselves to govern their families and also their slaves. So you had Americans over here teaching slaves the Bible, and they didn't even understand. So our white man didn't even understand the Bible. He's sitting there teaching us, and he's using it against his will, against us, because he don't have any understanding of the scriptures. And now the lies have set in so deep that they can't uncover it. They got to keep on lying. They can't change it. But all, like I said, but it was all a form of prophecy. The Bible was written in 1611. We came over here in 1619. The first thing they told us to do is not to read, because it's our book. We were speaking the same languages that Native American Indians were speaking. Same languages. We understood each other. It was our hideout grounds. It's where we would run. You know, there's a scripture in the Old Testament where it says, if a man accidentally is in the woods and is using his axe to cut a tree, and the head of the axe pops off and kills the brother that's next to him, there should be a place for him to flee because it was an accident. He didn't do it on purpose. That's what the Native American Indians was doing for us. We would flee because the master would kill us after we done killed another brother out there in the woods, another slave. We would flee to the Native American Indians, and they would hide us. They would hide us from everybody else. And we would that's how the Lone Ranger became the Lone Ranger. Same thing happened with him. He hid amongst the Native American Indians, and they took care of him. And then he resurrected himself back out and became a marshal. We have to understand history. History is a big part of the Bible. History of the world is all wrapped into the scriptures, all of it. And they won't teach you about the history because it hurts them too much to teach about slavery and whatever happened before slavery. It hurts them. They can't teach it. It was never made for them to teach it because they lied so much. And when we teach it, it hurts them because they say, oh, you hate me. We're telling you what the Bible says and what history said. It's the truth. It's what's going on. And people can't handle the truth. It's just too much for them. They'd rather hear a lie than hear the truth. You see that on the Maury Povich show and Jerry Springer show. People can't handle the truth. They're ready to fight. Let's see. We stop. I wanted to talk about something. Let's see. Did I tell you, brothers and sisters, why the book of Judith was removed and the book of Maccabees? Did I tell y'all why it was removed? Any of y'all know? Anybody?
No, you never mentioned.
Okay. Okay. The Apocrypha, for one, the Protestants in the 1700s removed the Apocrypha out of the Bible. In 1611, King James assembled that. You can read it in your Zondervan Bible Dictionary. It talks about how the Bible was assembled after King James put it in English. Okay? the Apocrypha had 8 men from Harvard, Yale, to assemble the Apocrypha to put it in the King James Bible. It was deemed authorized to be in the Bible. Anyone who removed any books out of the Bible either had a prison fine, was set, had a order to be put in prison, or had to pay a hefty fine. Okay, after King James died in the 1700s, evil men came about, made lies about King James, saying he was a homosexual, saying that he loved men. King James couldn't defend himself because he was dead. He had already had numerous children. He had a wife, but he was never gay. These men created this so they could prove that the Bible was false, where they could start dissecting the Bible and pulling things out. One of the things that they used to pull the Apocrypha out was the fact that the book of Judith and the Maccabees book was written in Greek and not Hebrew. And so they said, because it's written in Greek, it's not canon, we got to take it out. Not knowing that the Israelites became Hellenic. They were Hellenized. Hellenized meaning they became men who had Greek philosophies, Greek thoughts, and left their own understanding of their own history, customs, and the ancient ways. They became Hellenic. And so when they read that in the 1500s, 1600s, 1700s, these lies started to brew where they ended up taking out the Apocrypha. And so here we have it now, a missing link of the Bible where the captivities of the Israelites are all in the Bible except for the Greek captivity. It's the only one that's not in the Bible. And people can't put the two together because it's the missing link. This is the big part of history that's missing. And so there we have it with the Bible now. And so we're battling with these Christians because in that particular book that was taken out speaks about the Gentiles, how they made us become Gentiles and not being part of our own heritage, which are the 12 tribes of Israel. And so when you read the New Testament, there's all they talk about is Gentiles, 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 and people of today thinking that the Gentiles means everybody, but it only meant that the 12 tribes of Israel were destroyed as a people. Their customs, their heritage, everything was destroyed. They had to take on these new traits, new understandings, new philosophies, new names, and become Gentiles. And so there we have it with the New Testament. So that's the main reason why they took out the book of Maccabees, which is in the Catholic churches, and the book of Judith. They don't even mention the book of Judith, but it's some heavy expounding information in the book of Judith about our strengths and our weaknesses. Very heavy stuff. So we have to understand that. All right. So I'm glad I spoke on that so you brothers and sisters can understand that. Let's go to 2 Ezra chapter 14 in the Apocrypha, verse 46. 2 Ezra 14 and 46. We're going back to what we left off at. And it reads, "But keep the 70 last, that thou mayest deliver them only to such as be wise among the people." So the scriptures and its truth or true meaning will only hit those who are wise of the Israelites. Look at Daniel chapter 12. Daniel chapter 12. The truth of the matter is, no one knows what an Israelite is. I'm talking about, I know you brothers and sisters on the phone do, on the conference call. I know y'all know what it is. But an average, everyday Joe don't know what an Israelite is. This is what the whole Bible's about. Israelites, a dominating, strong, powerful people. It's amazing because people still travel with the name of Egyptians. They still travel with the name of Syrians, Assyrians, Iranians, okay, which is Persia. You still got people calling themselves Persians because they hate the Iranian government and they hate what it stands for. Okay, all these names are still in the earth except for Israelites. Except for Israelites. You even see stickers. Now, the Chinese, who are Moab, they don't claim to be Moab, but a lot of their weapons are designed and they call their instruments Moabite or Moabites. They have it on their instruments. You see Moabite stickers. You'll see Moab. I think it's like a skiing sticker. It's called Moab, right? you still have people calling themselves these names. The Greeks, they're still around. People still call themselves the Greeks. Romans, you hear Roman, you think Italian right away. Everybody do. Everybody thinks Italians are Rome. You have a city called Rome, but nothing where the people are called Israelites. You have Jewish, but we never called ourselves Jewish. We called ourselves Israelites or from the tribe of Judah. So they've changed everything. Everything. Everything concerning us. The book of Daniel, chapter 12. Daniel chapter 12, verse 9. And it reads, And he said, Go thy way, Daniel, for the words are closed up and sealed till the time of the end. See that? Many shall be purified and made white and tried. Okay, these are the Israelites who sacrifice their bodies by disciplining themselves to keep God's laws. That's a form of sacrifice to discipline yourself. But the wicked shall do wickedly, and none of the wicked shall understand. But the wise shall understand. So it's telling you that the wicked ain't going to understand. They're not going to get it. I want to go to Romans. Let's go to Romans chapter 12, verse 1. Romans 12 and 1. Just to prove to you that sacrifice is not killing of animals anymore, but it's disciplining your body. The scriptures tell you precept will be upon precept, line upon line, precept upon precept. This is the way you're going to get understanding of the breakdown of the Bible. None of the Bible contradicts itself like some of these people say. They don't understand the Bible. They don't know how to read it. But the formula, like you have a math formula, you can't do certain math problems unless you have the math formula. The Bible has a formula to read it, which is precept upon line upon line upon line. They were like, why are you jumping all over the place from this verse to that verse to that verse? It's because that's the proper way of reading it, and it teaches you a story of the Bible. It's a story within the story. Romans chapter 12, verse 1. I beseech you, therefore, brethren, by the mercies of the Most High, that ye present your bodies a living sacrifice, holy, acceptable unto the Most High, which is your reasonable service. See that? So you present your bodies to the Most High by sacrificing, giving up things that you shouldn't be doing, and repenting before you go to the throne of the Most High. That's why we say, Our Father, who art in heaven, hallowed be thy name, thy kingdom come, thy will be done. You're praising him. On earth as it is in heaven, give us this day. Please give us another day. Give us another daily bread. You know what I mean? We're praising him. And we're asking for forgiveness. And like, please give us some more food. Let us wake up. Let us do righteousness. Keep the evil away from us. It's the greatest prayer that ever been said. Can't go wrong by saying it. I've seen people. I had an auntie who was in the nursing home, and she had a stroke where she couldn't speak anymore. And I went to go pick her up and took her out, and we was reading the Bible. She can't read anymore. Her words don't come out right. But when I told her, let's say the Our Father's prayer, she could say that prayer clearly. I couldn't believe it. I was like, how can you say the Lord's Prayer, but you can't say nothing else? She could say the prayer. I had another instance. I had a great uncle. He was 90-something years old. Same thing happened to him where he couldn't speak anymore. He could still quote the Our Father's prayer, word for word, even though he couldn't speak. So these words dwell within us. The Most High will sustain us with his word. All right? So you have to understand, I spoke on the beast on my last video. If y'all saw the last couple of videos I put up, I spoke on a beast, and I showed you a picture of the beast in the Americas and how the Spaniards and the British ran upon the beast another, Edomite that was still cave-like here in the Americas. Okay, I showed the picture and I showed the literature of the 14th century how Spaniards ran upon them and was like, oh shoot, this dude is 7 leagues within the land. 7 leagues is like deep in the land of South America. They ran upon them and they couldn't deal with them. The Portuguese went in there, they couldn't deal with them. They was like, man, these are us. This is what we look like before we became Greeks and Macedonians. We were in the caves of Europe in the Caucasus Mountains, and this is what we look like. In the 13th tribe, it speaks on that. But they were also, that curse on Esau was even here in the Americas. They were in the mountains here the same way. And so when they saw themselves, they were like, wow, this is us. We've advanced so far since then. They don't talk about nothing else about that in their history. As I said, they hide these books from us. They hide these books, man. They don't want us to know. They don't teach our children about that stuff in schools. Esau saw himself and was like, I saw our old state of mind of Esau. It said that even he was in the case, he still had bow and arrows, just like Esau in Genesis chapter 35. He had bows and arrows, even though he's a brute. Crazy stuff, man. So, um, the Bible was not created for him. It was created for our people. Again, I must say, it was created for the Most High's people, who are the Israelites. I want to speak on the beast real quick. Let's go to Revelation 13 and 11. Sometimes when you speak on the internet, you can't really say too much. It hurts. It cuts real bad. The truth cuts bad to people who don't want to hear it. They can't handle it, man. You get angry. You get evil. But it's just the truth. Revelation 13 and 11. Revelation 13 and 11. And I beheld another beast coming up out of the earth, and he had 2 horns like a lamb, and he spoke as a dragon. And he exercised all the power of the first beast. Who's the first beast? United Nations, the EU, Roman Empire that broke up into many pieces, and causes the earth and them which dwell therein to worship the first beast. That's America. The first beast was Europe, and the second beast is America, whose deadly wound was healed. And he doth great wonders, so that he make a fire come down from heaven on the earth in the sight of men. Hiroshima, atomic bomb. Okay? The Iranian plague where they killed the second general in charge by Donald Trump. They saw fire come down on earth. George Bush took out Iraq. Fire came down on earth. And deceiveth them that dwell on the earth by the means of those miracles which he had power to do in the sight of the beast, saying to them that dwell on the earth, that they should make an image to the beast, which had the wound by a sword, and did live. Statue of Caesar Borgia, the statues all around the northern areas of the world. And he had power to give life unto the image of the beast. That image of the beast should both speak, you see it on movies, and cause that as many as would not worship the image of the beast should be killed. That happened to the Native Americans. They made them bow down to a white image of Jesus Christ, which is not the true image of Christ. The depictions and descriptions in the Bible says different. It says he had woolly hair. And he causeth all, both small and great, rich and poor, free and bond, to receive a mark in the right hand or in their foreheads. What is that mark? That mark is not the belief in the Most High Yahweh by Hashem Mashiach Yahushua. If you don't believe in the mark of the Most High, then you believe in the mark of the beast. And you buy everything with the mark of the beast. Money is the mark of the beast. Whose face is on that money? It ain't the Most High's. And that's what Yahushua was showing the taxmen when they came asking for taxes. He says, whose face is on that draken? He said, well, pay him whose face is on that draken his money. And that no man might buy or sell, save he that had the mark, or the name of the beast, or the number of his name. All right, y'all got to know what the number of his name is. Here's wisdom. What is wisdom? Y'all know what that wisdom is? Who's that beast? I went over that. Do you brothers and sisters realize that we made a contract with this beast from the beginning, our forefathers? They made a contract with this beast. I'm going to show you the first contract of the Israelites with the beast in the Apocrypha. Let's go to 1 Maccabees chapter 8. This is the first recorded contract of Jacob signing the contract with the beast, his brother Esau. 1 Maccabees chapter 8 and verse 22. We're going to start at verse 22. You should write this down. This is the first recorded contract with Esau. It happened in 161 BC. 161 BC. Remember, Daniel came about around 586 BC. So 400 years after Daniel, this took place. 400 years. And it reads, and this is the copy, here's verse 22. And this is the copy of the letter which the Senate wrote back again in tables of brass and sent to Jerusalem, that they might have by them a memorial of peace and confederacy. It was a letter that went to Israel. Good success be to the Romans. There's Israel praising the beast. And to the people of the Jews by sea and by land forever, the sword also. An enemy be far from them. If there come first, here's the Israelites agreement. If there come first any war upon the Romans or any of their confederates throughout all their dominion, the people of the Jews, of the Israelites, shall help them. We're going to help the beast. See that? We help them. As the time shall be appointed with all their heart, we're going to help them with all our heart. We're going to fight with the beast. Just like here in America. We still on this contract. Neither shall they give anything unto them that make war upon them. Anything they give us, if they give us a gun, a tank, a helicopter, they don't want us to turn on them and use it against them. See that? We had it written. This is one of the reasons why they didn't trust the Tuskegee Airmen, because they figured if they got in these planes, they would shoot us down. That's why they sent us way out to Europe to fight. We didn't fight here in the Americas. Neither shall they give anything unto them that make war upon them, or aid them with victuals, weapons, money, or ships, as it hath seemed good unto the Romans. But they shall keep their covenant, everything the Romans are covenants. They say, we already made this agreement with the beast. In the same manner also, if war come first upon the nation of Jews, this is Romans telling us, okay, if anything happen to y'all, I'll cover you. The Romans shall help them with all their heart, according as the time shall be appointed them. Neither shall victuals be given to them that take part against them, any weapons at the but they shall keep their covenants, and that without deceit. According to these articles did the Romans make a covenant with the people of the Israelites. This is when King Herod, this is how they set us up, y'all. They made this covenant, and then they brought in the Edomite, King Herod, to rule over us. Howbeit, if hereafter the one party or the other shall think meet to add or diminish anything, they may do it at their pleasures. And whatsoever they shall add or take away shall be ratified. And as touching the evils that Demetrius doeth to the Jews, the Israelites, we have written unto him, saying, wherefore hast thou made thy yoke heavy upon our friends and confederates, the Israelites? See that? That's part of the Genesis chapter 27. He's going to break loose. If therefore they complain any more against thee, we will do them justice and fight with thee by sea and by land. So when did this take place? 161 BC. We made an agreement with the beast, with Esau, with the Romans. When did this break? When did they promise end? Remember, they always break their promises. 63 BC. Yahushua prophesied that this would happen. In Luke chapter 21. He prophesied that they would turn on us. All right? That's when it ended. General Pompey, the Roman general, brought destruction on us, 70 AD. If y'all didn't know that, this is the contract. Write this down. Never forget it. It's in the book of Maccabees. It's the 8th chapter. This is how we fell. This is how we ended up where we are today. Right here. And then we turn our back on our Messiah. He came back to show us the way, and we didn't even listen to him. All right? Let's go to 2nd Ezra chapter 6 and 9. Second Ezra chapter 6, verse 9. For Esau is the end of the world, and Jacob is the beginning of it that followeth. You see that? That's the end of the world, Esau. We're in the Edomite kingdom right now. Today. Look at Jeremiah 31 and 27. You wonder why we love these Edomite women? And our sisters are showing up on these commercials with these Edomite men? Jeremiah 31 verse 27. Behold, the days come, saith the Most High, that I will sow the house of Israel. He's going to sow us like a thread and needle. That I will sow the house of Israel and the house of Judah with the seed of man. That's all other nations. And with the seed of the beast. He's saying, I'm going to also sow you with Esau, the beast. So he sold us to and fro through all the nations. We're sold in. We can't get out. We can't get out. You try to break loose, you can't break loose. You sold in with all these nations now. Especially, you sold in with the beast, the bewitching of doctrines the beast is presented to you. Let's go to 2 Peter. 2 Peter. The Bible's all we have, man. We don't have nothing else, y'all. This is our only way out. This little bitty book. 2 Peter chapter 2, verse 12. But these, as natural brute beasts, who's a natural brute beast? Esau and the other nations. They're natural brute beasts, made to be taken and destroyed, speak evil of the things that they understand not. They speak evil of our words. They speak evil about the Most High's people, and shall utterly perish in their own corruption. They're going to perish. But y'all trying to save them. Y'all trying to save the other nations. Better worry about your people. Stop worrying about the other nations. Oh, you worry about the other nations more than you do your own mother and your own father, your own brother and your own sister, your own children. You worry about them. Oh, don't kill him. Don't talk bad about him. But what about your brothers and your sisters? Let's go to Revelation 13 and 6. Revelation 13 and 6. Let's start at verse 5. And it reads, And there was given unto him a mouth speaking great things and blasphemies, and power was given unto him to continue 42 months. This is during the Roman times. And he opened his mouth in blasphemy against the Most High, to blaspheme his name, his tabernacle, meaning the land, and them that dwelt in heaven. That's us. He's blaspheming all the things that the Most High has set forth as his portion that we read about in Deuteronomy 32 and 8. We are his portion. So he blasphemed the name of the Most High, the land of the Most High, which is the tabernacle, and them that dwelt in heaven, which is the people of the Most High. All right? So it's the bewitching. We are being bewitched. All the time we're being bewitched. It's a curse. It's a spell that's on us. Do you understand that even the brothers and sisters who teach have a bewitching spirit on them too? Because how the world is, we are in Babylon. Babylon, even though we're trying to teach, we go out in the world, we're still being bewitched. As much as we try to purify ourselves, we are still in the midst of bewitching in this place called Babylon. Our total thinking is off because of Babylon. That's why the truth cuts and hurts so much. Let's go to Psalms 49. The book of Psalms, chapter 49. And let's go to verse 5, Psalms 49 and 5. It reads, Wherefore, I'll wait for y'all to get there. All right, let's go ahead and read it. It says, wherefore should I fear in the days of evil, when the iniquity of my heels shall compass me about? See that? Are we going to be in fear in this day? We're not supposed to be in fear. The sacrifice today is to come out of the ways of Babylon. That's what the Most High said. And to constantly, every hour on the hour, discipline yourself. That's why we pray for ourselves, we pray for each other, and even all the people who come to the truth. We got to overcome the ways of the beast. Let's go to 2nd Ezra chapter 8. 2nd Ezra chapter 8. And let's read verse 29. 2nd Ezra 8 and verse 29. It reads, let it not be thy will to destroy them which have lived like beasts. Because our people are beginning to live like beasts. We were sold in with the beast. We're starting to act like the beast, talk like the beast, walk like the beast, eat like the beast. So he says, let not be thy will to destroy them, the them is Israel, which have lived like beasts, but to look upon them that have clearly taught thy law. See? Let's read on. Take thou no indignation at them which are deemed worse than beasts, but love them that always put their trust in thy righteousness and glory. The Most High knew we would be in this land. It says, for we are fathers, but we and our fathers do languish of such diseases. To be amongst the beasts is to have a disease. The bewitching of doctrines is a disease, y'all. It's part of the curses. These are the wonderful diseases. But because of us sinners, thou shalt be called merciful. All he's telling us to do is repent. Some of our brothers who never heard the truth, repent and come into the truth. Repent. But those of us who already had the truth, this is what he says for us. For if thou hast a desire to have mercy upon us, thou shalt be called merciful to us, namely, that have no works of righteousness. That's those who don't have the laws, but those who do. For the just, which have many good works laid up with thee, the just are those who are trying to keep the laws. Verse 32 is for those who don't know the laws. They're being bewitched. All right. It says, shall out of their own deeds receive rewards. We're going to receive rewards. So the Bible was created for us to get right. That's what it was created for. Isaiah 63 and 14. Isaiah 63. Most High knew that we would be in this valley with the beast. He knew it. Isaiah 63, verse 14. Look at this. It reads, as a beast goeth down into the valley, the Spirit of the Most High caused him to rest. So didst thou lead thy people to make thyself a glorious name. This beast went into the valley, but the only way that we're going to get peace is to come back to the laws, right? He's saying as a beast, dwell in the valley, right? Look at this verse in Genesis 25. This is what I was telling y'all earlier about the beast. This is a true natural brute beast, Esau. Genesis 25 and 27. Genesis 25 and 27. Don't sleep on this. Don't sleep on this. Wake up. And it says here, it says, Genesis 25, 27. And the boys grew, and Esau was a cunning hunter, a man of the field, and Jacob was a plain man, dwelling in tents. Jake don't go nowhere. Jake stay in the house. Jake don't travel. You don't see too many Jakes traveling. When you saw that virus that just came out, the Coronado, I gotta think of the coronavirus. When that virus came out, they were showing all those people stuck on those ships out there in the ocean for 2 weeks because they had the virus. and they were showing all the people who couldn't get on planes. I didn't see no Jake, not one. All of them were Edomites. Every single one was Edomites. Jake don't get out, man. Jake don't travel. Jake stay home. They travel every now and then. They go on vacation. They don't go far. Jake is scary. Very scary. There's Jake in the military. He traveled because he has to. But a lot of Jake is scary. We stay in the house. The Most High says Jacob was a man of the tents. Yaakov, was a man of the tents. He stayed at home. All right. But it says that Esau was a cunning hunter, a man of the field. Do you know that if you look into the thesaurus, field has many different synonyms? Field, you look up field, you'll see a country, you'll see an open field, you'll see outdoors, you'll see a valley, you'll see husbandman. All those words are for the field. All right. So Esau dwelt in all those places. That's why it says in Isaiah 63:14, how the beast dwelleth in the valley. Okay, which is a city of death. Let's go to Ezekiel. Actually, let's go to Psalms. Go to a famous prayer that y'all brothers and sisters know. Psalms 23. Psalms 23. Y'all know this prayer, right? Psalms 23. It says, the Most High is my shepherd, I shall not want. He maketh me to lie down in green pastures. He leadeth me beside the still waters. Y'all read this in Sunday school. Didn't even know what y'all was reading. He leadeth me beside the still waters. He restoreth my soul. He leadeth me in the paths of righteousness for his name's sake. His namesake is Israel. Y'all didn't know that when y'all was in Sunday school, that the Most High's namesake was only with Israel. Yea, though I walk through the valley of the shadow of death. Did y'all know what the valley of the shadow of death was when y'all was in Sunday school? The valley of the shadow of death is a country, like we just read. Esau was a man of the field, man of the country, man of the valley. The valley of the shadow of death is America. Okay? It's where the Israelites are being punished at. I will fear no evil. See that? I will fear no evil. For thou art with me, thy rod and thy staff. What is thy rod and thy staff? The Most High tells us your rod is the commandments. Your staff is the commandments. They comfort us. It says, thou preparest a table before me. What's the table for? Habakkuk chapter 2, verse 5. Precept upon precept. Let's see what that table is for. Habakkuk. Break down the prayer, and then you'll see that the prayer was a fight. It's a fight against where we are today. It's not just some simple prayer. I call it, when people in Christian churches pray, it's a chant. It's not really a prayer. It's a chant because they don't understand what they're chanting. A chant, nobody understands a chant, right? But a prayer, who's supposed to understand it? The Most High is supposed to understand it. People in church chant, they don't pray. Habakkuk 2, verse 3. Habakkuk, let's start at verse 2. Habakkuk chapter 2, verse 2. And the Most High answered me and said, write the vision and make it plain upon tables. So what are the tables? This Bible. It's not just a table. It's not a table, man. The table is a Bible. It says that he may run that readeth it. See, it's telling you what that table is. It's a book. You take this Bible, if you ain't got a table, where you going to put it? You're either going to hold it up to your face or you're going to set it on your lap. That's a table. When you have a TV tray and you don't have nothing to put the TV tray on, where you put the TV tray at? On your lap to eat. That's what this Bible is. It's like a TV tray. You put it on your lap and you read. It's a table. For the vision is yet for an appointed time, but at the end it shall speak and not lie. Though it tarry, wait for it. Though it take its time, wait for it. Because it will surely come and will not tarry. It's coming, man. Then he gets into Esau. Behold, his soul which is lifted up is not upright in him, but the just shall live by faith. Talking about this time. Esau, the beast. All these prophets are talking about the last days. What's going to happen? Who's running the place? The 666. Who is it? It's a mystery. Now you know the mystery. You know who that is. It's written in the scriptures in codes. Let's go back to Psalms 23. And let's go back to verse 5. Psalms 23, verse 5. Thou preparest a table before me in the midst of mine enemies. So the valley, if we go to Ezekiel 37, it's going to tell you what the valley is that we just read about in Psalms 23. Ezekiel 37. Ezekiel 37, verse 1. It reads, The hand of the Most High was upon me, and carried me out in the spirit of the Most High, and set me down in the midst of the valley full of bones, and caused me to pass by them round about. Behold, there was very many in the open valley, and lo, they were very dry. Now, where is Esau? In the open field, in the open valley. That's where Esau is. So this valley that Psalms 23 was talking about is this place called Mystery Babylon, where the beast dwell. When we read in Isaiah, we talked about the beast dwells in the valley. This is where we are. We're the valley of dry bones, in the valley with the beast. Verse 3, And he said unto me, Son of man, can these bones live? And I answered, O power, thou knowest. Again he said unto me, Prophesy upon these bones, and say unto them, O ye dry bones, hear the word of the Most High. Thus saith the Most High unto those bodies, these bones, Behold, I will cause breath to enter into you, and ye shall live. What is the breath of life? The breath of life is Psalms, 119 and 142. It's the breath of life. It's the everlasting light. You can read about that too in 2 Ezra chapter 3, what the breath is. It's the commandments. Verse 6, And I will lay sinews upon you, and will bring upon flesh upon you, and cover you with skin, and put breath in you, and ye shall live, and ye shall know that I am the power. So I prophesied, there was a noise, and behold, a shaking, and the bones came together, bone to bone. And when I beheld, lo, the sinews and the flesh came up upon them, and the skin covered them above, but there was no breath in them. All right, so this is during the 60s. This is from the 60s all the way back during the Nat Turner era. We was waking up little by little, but it wasn't enough to push us over the top. We was learning the name, but we didn't really have the understanding of the truth. It wasn't the end yet. It wasn't time for us to get the whole truth. Verse 9, Then said he unto me, Prophesy unto the wind. Prophesy, son of man, and say to the wind, Thus saith the Most High, Come from the four winds, O breath, and breathe upon these slain, that they may live. All right, so the slain are our people. They don't have the knowledge of the Most High. They're in churches, but they don't have the knowledge of who they are. They don't have the knowledge of why Yahushua came. So I prophesied as he commanded me, and the breath came unto them, and they lived and stood upon their feet, an exceeding great army. Now this is what's in Revelation chapter 11, when it says that their enemies beheld them stand, and a great army was before them. This is Revelation 11. This is what we're going to do when we all get that breath of life. Then he said unto me, Son of man, these bones are the whole house of who? Israel. Now I seen the church not too far from me where I'm at now, and it got Ezekiel 37 on there. Bunch of Edomites. How they gonna raise up? They ain't the children of Israel. They drier than dry bones. It says, behold, they say, our bones are dry and our hope is lost. We are cut off for our parts. Therefore prophesy and say unto them, thus saith the Most High of hosts, behold, O my people, I will open your graves. What are the graves? Your minds, and cause you to come out of your graves and bring you into the land of Israel. All right, we're going to wake up. Also, that's also in spiritual resurrection, spiritual and physical resurrection. And ye shall know that I am the Most High when I have opened your graves, O my people, and brought you up out of your graves, and shall put my spirit in you, and ye shall live, and I shall place you in your own land. Then shall you know that I have spoken it. Particular thought process. This next thought process is us, is going back to when we're in captivity. Okay? And this is something that we're supposed to do while we're in captivity. It reads, verse 15. The word of the Most High came again unto me, saying, okay, he's going back. He's showing us again, showing Ezekiel another prophecy. Moreover, thou son of man, take thee one stick and write upon it for Judah and for the children of Israel, his companions. Okay, Judah and his companions are who? You got the northern kingdom and you got the southern kingdom. How many bodies of Israelites are in the southern kingdom? Or how many tribes of Israel are in the southern kingdom? 3 tribes. You got Judah, Benjamin, and Levi. Okay, those are the 3 tribes. Judah are the Negroes, Benjamin are the West Indies, and Levi are the Haitians. Okay, not all of them, just a remnant of them. We know that they went there based on artifacts and history that they went to those areas. Not saying that they ain't all over. You got brothers in Europe, we got brothers in Africa, China, everywhere, right? But these are the ones that we can physically read in the book and see that portions of them went to these areas. So those 3 tribes. So he's saying for Judah and for the children of Israel, his companions. Companions are those 3 tribes. Then take another stick and write upon it. These are flat sticks that we're going to write these names on. For Joseph, the stick of Ephraim, and for all the house of Israel, his companions. Now, the northern kingdom was called Ephraim. That's what the whole, like we call ourselves tribe of Judah, and Benjamin and Levi also call themselves tribe of Judah. But Ephraim, all the 10 tribes will call themselves Ephraim instead of Israel. Ephraim was the head of them. How do we know that? Where can we find the breakdown of that at? Deuteronomy 33, the prophecy. Deuteronomy 33, let's go to verse 17. Here's the breakdown of Ephraim. It reads, his glory is like the firstling of his bullock, and his horns are like the horns of unicorns. Now, a unicorn wasn't a real unicorn that you see on some of these fairy tale movies. Okay, a unicorn is just like a cow or a bull or some kind of horse that pushes, that's a leader of the leader of the flock. Okay, his horns are like the horns of unicorns. With them he shall push the people together to the ends of the earth. And they are the 10,000s of Ephraim. They are the thousands of Manasseh. Ephraim and Manasseh I can't say the word, synonymous with Joseph. But Ephraim took precedent over Manasseh. He was blessed first before Manasseh was blessed by their father Jacob. So Ephraim is the head of the northern kingdom, Ephraim, which we call the Puerto Ricans. Okay? But the whole house of the northern kingdom were considered Ephraim. So the other tribes could also call themselves, that are in the northern kingdom, I'm from the tribe of Ephraim. They could do that too. All right. And it reads verse 17. And join them one to another into one stick, and they shall become one in thine hand. And when the children of thy people shall speak unto thee, saying, Wilt thou not show us what thou meanest by these? Can you tell us what this is? Why did you write this on the stick? Who is Ephraim? Who is Manasseh? Who is Naphtali? Who is Judah, Benjamin, Levi? I don't know these people. You know what I mean? Who are they? They're asking because they want to know. They're the children of Israel. You have to break it down to them. Did you come by slave ship? Do you have the spirit of the Most High? Did you go through these curses? Do you remember who your father's father was? Was they the children of slaves? Were they killed by the conquistadors? Were they Aztecas? Were they Incas? Were they Mayas? Were they Native American? Were they Seminoles? You know, you have to ask them all these questions because they're going to ask you, who are these people? Right? This is in our captivity. This is during the time of confusion. Why are they asking this? Because we were supposed to remember our Bible that we read about in Deuteronomy chapter 4, where he says, This is your wisdom in the sight of the nations. Remember this, lest thou forget. Make sure you tell your sons and your sons' sons who we are. Because now you see in the future presence, we have forgotten and we're asking, who are these people? When is us? It's a prophecy. Verse 17, and join them one to another into one stick, and they shall become one in thine hand. And he saying, Will thou not show us what thou meanest by these? This is what we're supposed to say unto them. Thus saith the Most High of hosts, Behold, I will take the stick of Joseph, which is in the hand of Ephraim, and the tribes of Israel, his fellows, and will put them with him, even with the stick of Judah, and make them one stick, and they shall be one in mine hand, and the sticks whereon thou writest shall be in thy hand before their eyes. We're going to write it on there. See that? Brothers get mad when we say this is him, this is he, this is who it is. We already broke it down. It was by the Spirit of the Most High we got the breakdowns. Verse 21, and say unto them, Thus saith the Most High of hosts, Behold, I will take the children of Israel from among the heathen, whither they be gone, and will gather them on every side, and bring them into their own land. And I will make them one nation in the land upon the mountains of Israel. And one king shall be king to them all, and they shall be no more two nations, neither shall they be divided into two kingdoms any more at all. Neither shall they defile themselves any more with their idols, nor with detestable things like pork, shrimp, crab, lobster, all that stuff, bats, rats, nor with any of their transgressions, but I will save them out of all their dwelling places, where they have sinned. We've sinned in all these states of America, and will cleanse them. So shall they be my people, and I will be their power. And David my servant shall be king over them, and they all shall have one shepherd. They shall also walk in my judgments and observe my statutes and do them. This is what we're going to do. All right. Let's go to Revelation chapter 7. When we figure out who we are and that we are the whole house of Israel and not Christians, but we're Israelites, the Most High is going to redeem us. It don't say nothing about Christians in the book of Revelation. Nowhere. Find me Christians in the book of Revelation. This is what I read in Revelation chapter 7. It reads, let's go to verse 2. And I saw another angel ascending from the east, having the seal of the living power, and he cried with a loud voice to the four angels, to whom it was given to hurt the earth and the sea, saying, Hurt not the earth, neither the sea, nor the trees, till we have sealed the servants of the Most High on their foreheads, with the law, statutes, and commandments. And I heard the number of them which were sealed, and there was sealed 144,000 of all tribes of the children of Israel. One of the tribe of Judah were sealed of 12,000. Of the tribe of Reuben was sealed 12,000. Of the tribe of Gad was sealed 12,000. Of the tribe of Asher was sealed 12,000. Of the tribe of Naphtali was sealed 12,000. Of the tribe of Manasseh was sealed 12,000. Of the tribe of Simeon and Levi, both had 12,000. Of the tribe of Issachar was sealed 12,000. Of the tribe of Zebulun was sealed 12,000. Of the tribe of Joseph, which is Ephraim and Manasseh, was sealed 12,000. Of the tribe of Benjamin was sealed 12,000. After this I beheld, and lo, a great multitude which no man could number, of all nations and kindreds and people and tongues, stood before the throne and before the Lamb, clothed with white robes and palms in their hands, and cried with a loud voice, saying, Salvation to our power, which sitteth upon the throne, and unto the Lamb. And all the angels stood round about the throne, and about the elders and the four beasts, and fell before the throne of their faces, and worshiped the Most High, saying, Amen. Hallelujah. All right, with that, I'm going to close it out. But
This is the word of the Lord of hosts. I took you from the pastures and from following the sheep to be prince over my people Israel. I have been with you wherever you have gone, and have destroyed all the enemies in your path. I will make you a great name among the great ones of the earth. I will assign a place for my people in Israel. There I will plant them, and they shall dwell in their own land.